Welcome to the 68th tutorial in Python. In today's tutorial, we're going to look at Python generators. So let's get straight into it. Remember when we learned while and for loops, and we also learned functions, right? Today we'll be combining them to make a completely new concept, which is called as a generator. Before we understand what a generator is, we must understand normal functions correctly. So let's revise through that. We'll make a function called def get numbers brackets colon return a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and all the other digits. So what is this function called? This is just a normal function and Python executes every line inside of it. And the entire list is created in the computer's memory and the return sends the entire list back at once. There is no pause and there is no memory of what happened inside the function after return. And the function finishes its job with just one single execution. But there is a limitation with normal functions. Now imagine instead of 5 numbers, you had to print a million numbers, or an infinite sequence of numbers, or values coming from a sensor, file, or one of your streams. Do you really want to create all the values at once? Or do you want to consume all your memory immediately? Or do you just want to crash your computer completely? Well, of course, you don't want this, because normal functions execute everything at once, which can be quite a heavy load for our computers. So how can we fix this? This is where generators come in. To be honest, generators are just a type of function, but it behaves in a quite different way. Instead of finishing its execution right away, it can pause, remember, and resume later. And this behavior is made by the yield keyword. So unlike return, yield sends the value out, pauses execution, and also preserves variables. Now, how can we make our first generator? We'll just declare a simple function def count up colon as syntax and yield 1, yield 2, yield 3. Now if I set this to a variable and print gen and run the code, as you can see, it just tells us a generator object count up at blah 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 blah. You see, this prints a generator object, not values. This is because generators are quite lazy. They execute only when they're asked to. And this is not an error. This is just the way it has been made. The way to actually get it is to use a keyword called next. So print next gen, print next gen, print next gen. Now if we run the code, as you can see, this time it gives us 1, 2, and 3. The first next gives us 1 because it starts the function, runs until the first yield, gives us 1, and pauses the execution. Then again, when we run next, it again resumes it, gives us 2, pauses. Then after the third next, it resumes, gives us 3, and then ends the generator. After the final value, the generator stops, and the way we pause is how we continue our generator. So what is the difference between a general generator and a normal function? You see, a normal function executes completely at once, and after it executes, it forgets everything. But a generator executes part by part, yields multiple values, and remembers after each next and remembers the state after each next function. Now, how can we combine loops like how we said at the start of the video to make generators? Well, it's quite simple actually. We'll make another function, def generate numbers, and we'll set a limit. So num is equal to 1, and while number is less than limit, yield num, and we'll just add the number by 1. So now, what makes this powerful? The loop does not run completely, and each iteration produces only one value. And the memory usage is quite minimal over here. So if we put it for value in generate numbers 100, print value, if I run it, the colon over here, and if I run the code, as you can see, it generates numbers from 1 to 100. And since we're using a for loop, it automatically calls the next function, receives a value, and it continues until we exhaust at number 100. We all like making things short, right? We don't want to type a lot of code all the time. Like rather than typing 5 lines over here, what if we could just condense it all into just one line? We can do that by using generator expressions. So we'll make a generator called gen, and gen is equal to x multiplied by x for x in range 5. So this should technically give us the first 5 square numbers. Print gen. As you can see, it gives a generate object, blah, 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 blah. Now if I print next gen and run the code, let me just close the brackets and run the code. As you can see, it first gives us 0, and if I run it around 5 times, like that, it gives us 0, 1, 4, 9, and 16, giving us the first 5 square numbers. If this video helped you understand how generators work in Python, then make sure to subscribe and hit that like button.